Hi guys, it's me Lewis, and today I'm here to give out my thoughts, opinions, and somewhat of a rant on the Real Game Awards that was shown off last night, which of course, during the time of this recording, it's probably going to be uploaded a few days later. So, where do I start off with this? So, of course, as anyone would know, Stuttering Craig, the main host of his podcast, the Side Scrollers, decided to go out of his way to create none other than his alternative version of the Game Awards, being of course the Real Game Awards, as it's called. Kind of a laziest name, but ayo, it is what it is. Boss, if I'm going to be honest with you, I did have a decent time watching the show because not only was it short and straight to the point, but it's also an alternative to actually give actual gamers a voice to actually express what games they like and don't like. However, I did have my fair share of criticisms with the show itself. Some jokes were thrown in there. I guess you could say some minor insults and minor pokes at the mainstream game awards being a bit too being a bit too political, being obviously way too rigged. Okay, fair enough. I get where they're coming from with that, but in my personal opinion, I think it would have been best if they just cut back on that and try to make the Real Game Awards their own thing, make it a bit more fun, make it more simple, right? So that's my fair share of criticisms, along the lines of having the best journalists and worst journalists nominees, which I thought was a bit cringe in my personal opinion. And they could have gone with possibly best video game music / score or best art from a certain game. That could have been that definitely could have been the alternative towards the whole best and worst journalism nominee part. I guess you could say. However, some people didn't take too kindly to this alternative of awarding certain games, because two particular indie developers, one involving Nightmare Cart and the other involving Solanco, was a little bit too angry at Craig, primarily because the fact was that one of them was a bit pissed off that they didn't share the same political views as him, and while the other didn't share the same political views whilst not sharing the same sexual views as him as well. And of course, we're going to start off with the developer of Nightmare Cart. Now, Nightmare Cart originally started off as somewhat of a fan-made project towards Bloodborne, if I remember correctly. And of course, over time, it became its own thing and was released on Steam possibly a year or two later, right? However, the audience voted Nightmare Cart for being the best racing game out there, and I have to agree, Nightmare Cart is no doubt a really fun indie game. However, that being said, with the developer, which I knew nothing about the guys, I want to make that very abundantly clear right now, apparently was going out of his way to basically not only attack Craig, but also trying to express his sex life through that reward that he was given. So, as you can see in this tweet right here, it's kind of quite vulgar and yet very, very questionable of what he's saying here with his reward being presented to him on a silver platter. However, what I find absolutely bizarre about this is that this guy has gone out of his way to literally say that, this is I want to seriously thank everyone for getting attention. By the way, I'm gonna fuck my my transgender girlfriend. Bye, which I find very, like, what? You couldn't just say a simple thank you and thanks for making my game and shit. Like again, nobody gave a shit about your sexuality. Like, you're the one who brought that shit up, not Craig, not me, not anyone else. It was you who did that, mate. And somehow it became a massive issue to have someone who doesn't think the same way as you do, make you so pissed off to where you have to literally, give out a sarcastic thanks whilst acting like a complete degenerate. Which I will never understand why people like that always have to go above and beyond to, express that way. Same thing goes with the developer of Solanco. They got pissed off because their game got free advertisements from Craig. And again, free advertisements I have zero problems with. I have no issues with the fact that you have you create a really fun game that looked interesting to one individual, and he thought to himself, okay, do you know what? This game looks fun. This looks, it reminds me of Doom, Wolfenstein, and Duke Nukem. Let's give this game free advertisement and try and give these developers attention, right? Like these indie devs definitely deserve it. But unfortunately now, with them throwing a temper tantrum, simply because they do not share the same political views as them, and somehow they made it political, which, by the way, the show had fuck all to do with any source of politics whatsoever. These devs, who worked on Solanco, have gone out of their way to practically slander not only Stuttering Craig, but also their own audience. But here's the thing, though, for a guy myself who sees things from a business standpoint, that is not good for business, and I'm going to tell you why that is. Because when you look at individuals who create a really interesting product that's fun, and you're telling your own audience to fuck off whilst giving them the middle finger, guess what? They can throw that middle finger back in your face, and they will fuck off and find the alternative. And what both of these developers have done, from Nightmare Cart to Solanco, is that they have not only damaged their reputation, probably ruined any financial opportunities to try and keep themselves afloat, but they've also damaged opportunities for people to buy their product, because now people know who you are. They don't see you as just a regular indie dev who is looking forward to welcome a customer with the whole Beauty and the Beast song being be our guest. Instead, you're basically telling them to fuck off and let fake fucking individuals who don't even play games to begin with, praise your product that they're never even going to play. And guess what? Solanco looked fun, but considering the fact that you have developers who are working on that shit, my response is no, fuck off. I'm not gonna fucking play that now. Like, if you're gonna tell people like me to fuck off just because I don't give a fuck about politics nor share any political alignments with you, then it just proves to me for a fact that you have got some serious mental problems. I mean, serious mental problems to a high degree. And I'm sorry to sound like a dick here, but that's the truth of it. Like, it always boils down to politics with these individuals. Like, again, as a guy who loves video games, right? A guy who's been playing them since he was a fucking kid, right? I absolutely would love to get the attention from anyone who either praises my game or gives my game shit for no apparent reason. Because again, that is good marketing, and we seem to have lost that idea, because there was a time back in the 90s where controversial games like Mortal Kombat, Duke Nukem, and Wolfenstein got free advertisement because you had a bunch of as what the Americans called them, soccer mums, who would throw fucking temper tantrums by basically saying, this game is too violent, it's gonna turn my kid into a psycho, and these developers would fucking laugh at them and go, ha ha ha, thanks for the free advertisement, dickhead, thank you very much, our product has doubled in sales, thank you very much. And guess what? It doubled in sales. Nowadays, developers are so fucking paranoid over their own customers. Yes, I get it. A lot of them are fucking scared because of people like Craig, Asmongold, and especially people like me. Do you want to know why? Because we can't be bought out. We can't be fucking silenced. They know for a fact that we can easily raise our voices and tell them, no, your product sucks because of these particular reasons. Whether it's because of shitty graphics or piss poor performance, or you trying to shove in a political agenda that nobody, I mean nobody from across the board fucking wanted. Then of course, yeah, your product is going to flop. But since now that paranoia of their own customer has spiked up to a completely different scenario, simply because one man gave their product attention, somehow that's a bad thing. And to me, that is the most retarded idea you could possibly think of. And the last thing I want to bring up too, though, is the fact that you have all these creative individuals, these creative indie devs who didn't even get a chance in the spotlight to even have their game presented or rewarded at the Real Game Awards. you have again, there are so many of them out there that would love to have that attention. And the thing is, though, if I was receiving attention from a game that I made on Steam, for example, right? Which let's say for example I create a fighting game that had really fun fighting game mechanics, great gameplay, great art design, great character design, so on and so forth, and it got free advertisement from someone like Craig or someone else who was a controversial piece of shit, but gave my game free advertisement anyway. I would be over the goddamn moon. I would be thrilled that my product got free advertisements. But when you look at developers like the guy who made Nightmare Cart and the developers of Solanco, they have made it abundantly clear that they don't give a shit about the industry. They've hell. One of them has even admitted that they are more than happy to find financial income elsewhere. And if that's the case, then okay, fair enough, buddy. If you don't give a fuck about the industry, then get the fuck out. Then it's that fucking simple. Okay, guys, that's all I have time for. So don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what are your thoughts on the Real Game Awards. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Did you not enjoy it? Do you have any sort of criticisms that you would like to share? Do you think the developers of Solanco and Nightmare Cart were a little bit too harsh or a little bit too insane with their takes? Do let me know in the comment section. Okay, guys, peace out.